Once again, this is ÅMØNTOLOGY. I'm a mirror. I'm a Lucifer. I want to break some old knowledge down, some more science to you. In Isaiah say, in Isaiah 7:14, a virgin would conceive and bear a son, and shall call his son name Emmanuel. Now, a lot of y'all would think that this verse in this chapter is talking about a actual female, but it's not. Remember in the painting from Leonardo da Vinci, in that painting, we will see in the painting that Leonardo da Vinci is not talking about a actual woman, but the constellation is representative of Virgo, the sign. Let's keep that in mind. A virgin would conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Okay? Now check this out. A virgin is Virgo. The Virgin Mary is not a actual woman. But what is really being said is being the meaning in being born in the month of the Zodiac sign of Virgo. You see. So when you understand that Isaiah is referring to the prophecy, a 700-year prophecy that beings from different planets encoded into scriptures and people to talk about who was to come. And it's not talking about Jesus, because Jesus is identified in the New Testament as being Jesus. And furthermore, stop calling himself Emmanuel. But a virgin would conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now, when you look at the wording of Emmanuel, you will see it's also encoded. I'll break that down to you shortly. Now again, let's be clear that when it speaks of a virgin, we're referring to Virgo. We're referring to the constellation, the zodiac sign Virgo, not an actual woman. Okay? The Virgin Mary, again, is code talk. You see, Mary is not that actual woman, but again, it's the feminine and the male that represent the two, just as you see Jesus, just as you see the two, Jesus and the Virgo together. You see, and a virgin would conceive and bear a son. Look at this. Bear a son, right? Let me bring some signs down too. Okay? What is Lucifer called? Lucifer was called the light bearer, right? The morning star. But also we know in Revelation it speaks of Jesus as being the bright and morning star. But what is a star? A star is nothing more than a sun. You see? The bright and morning star. A sun. Now let's go back to the chalkboard, because it said that a virgin would conceive and bear. And bear what? And bear a son. This is code talk. And bear a son. And what is Lucifer called? Alright, family. We're back at you. Now, again, it states, a virgin would conceive and bear a son. It's twofold meaning. Because what is Lucifer called? Lucifer is called the light bearer, right? And this virgin is not talking about a actual virgin. So this is why Jesus and Lucifer are one and the same. But it's not as in Lucifer as being the devil, but it's talking about a light bearer. Because look how they match up. Bear a son. Light is what a son is, and it's not talking about an actual son. It's twofold meaning. Because in the meaning of bear a son, it's coded. You see, let me show you. Bear a son, bear with me. You have B, and then you have B-A, Ra, son. Bear means to carry or be a light. Was the name also they consider to be Venus, but we're talking about the personification is being figured of a male figure of a torch, a luminosity, melanated energy. B A Ra, son. This is what Lucifer is. Now let me make this more clear for you. Okay, family, now you can see it more clearly. Because in Isaiah 7:14, it stipulates a virgin would conceive and bear a son. But you see, they're both the same. To bear a son is to bear a actual son of the sun as being light, energy, melanated energy. You see? And to bear a son is what a light bearer is. They go hand in hand. Bear a son and light bearer. Since Lucifer is, what is Lucifer? Lucifer is what? Turn this line out for you. What is Lucifer called? Lucifer, the light bearer, right? I'm not making this up. Spelled the same way. And as you can see, Emmanuel is also coded within itself. So I just want y'all to see that it's things that's in plain sight that it gets you if you don't pay attention to it. Let's read this again. Isaiah 7:14. A virgin, we're not talking about an actual woman, we talk about the constellation sign Virgo, would conceive and bear a son, which in terms we just found out is referring to Lucifer, a light bearer. Bear a son, and encoded is B-A Ra, son. And you see how it all goes hand in hand in this code talk? Because when it connects to form a X, it also forms a star. Because a light bearer and a sun is a star. And on the end and beginning of the letters, you see it say star. S-T-A-R. Star bearer. I can't make this up. And shall call his name Emmanuel. Emmanuel is called for Ein, man, U-L. But in essence, it's unscrambled too. Oh, hold on, family. Now what do Emmanuel uncode to? Man, Lu. is short for Lucifer. You see. And the E only identified with it being in a star placement. Because if you're familiar with the constellation on the Leonardo da Vinci, the fifth placement is, who's the fifth placement? You have Aries, you have Taurus, but in essence, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Aries start at the top of the table, the first. You see, Aries is not considered to be on the side where you have encoded 23, which is 5, 1. First said Taurus, Gemini 2, Cancer 3, Leo 4, and Virgo being 5. 23 right there. Aries is showing itself because Aries also was encoded, and I broke down that to you. Aries is the ram, right? The ram symbol is Aries. How is Mary spelled? How is the name Mary spelled? Step back for a minute, family. Look at the word Mary. In the wording Mary, you have R-A-M, which is ram. You have the M in Mary, the 13. Because in essence, what we talk about is my ram. This version. So when you see this 5 placement here, the E is the 5th letter in the alphabet. Let me remove the glare from it. The E is the 5th number. Excuse me, the E is the 5th letter, which makes 5, right? A star. Light's bearer, which Lucifer is. Bear a sun is synonymous to each other. Bear a sun is the actual sun. We'll be talking about a constellation. Let's move on. In the 13th formation we have in the Last Supper, we see that the M makes Mary, which is Virgo. And that whole formation formed a V with the Virgo and the Sun synonymous, the two being the same. Because the actual Christ character, this actual Christ man, is a man. It's not a female. It is not a Jesus. Let's be clear on that. And the number of this person is encoded. V in Greek is 5. And the M is 13. 5, 13. And the 13th son. It's no mistake. This is why you have in the wording of bear a son. It's talking about this Messiah being born in the month of Virgo, September. The virgin being, again, the virgin being September. Virgo, the constellation. The virgin would conceive and bear a son, this Lucifer, this son of light, this B-A-Ra son, which is saying this is being a Ra son, the 13th son, which when you form the two being together, this is Jesus is Lucifer, because Jesus has the same title in Revelation, the bright and morning star. Lucifer is also called the bright and morning star. And Lucifer is the light bearer. The prophecies speak of this virgin bearing a son. We're talking about the actual son, a male being born. And this son is a S-T-A-R. It's also a star. This is where you get the star from. And when you line this down the middle, it connects to form a star. The light bearer. With the seal 23 and 513. Stay tuned. This is ÅMØNTOLOGY. Breaking down to you these signs. And understanding that all this is prophecy. Jesus is called Jesus in the New Testament. The Old Testament speaks of Emmanuel. And a woman. It didn't even say woman, it said virgin. Let's be correct. A virgin. And that virgin symbolism is Virgo. In the Zodiac sign, Virgo. Stay tuned for more knowledge being dropped. This is Amir. I'm a Lucifer. 1.